Greetings, dear ones, and welcome. I'm Reverend Dr. Jerry Troyer. I'm the administrator for the affiliated New Thought Network, ANTN, and I would like to welcome you to our August Speaker Series event with our beloved Reverend Dr. Rick Moss. The affiliated New Thought Network is an organization of centers and churches and New Thought organizations and independent and individual ministers and students. If you're not familiar with ANTN, we invite you to go to our website, www.newthought.org, and get more information about us, about becoming a member, and about our conference in April of next year at Unity Village outside Kansas City. We are so pleased that you are with us. I am recording, and the recording will be available on our YouTube channel, which is ANTN Members and Friends, in a day or two, and we will post that information on our Facebook page as well. I invite you to take just a moment, relax where you are, and take a deep breath if you wish, and join me in the light. As we do so, we release thoughts of earlier today, thoughts of later today or tomorrow, so we can just be fully present in the lusciousness of this moment. And as we do, we are reminded that there is only one power, presence, mind, life, and intelligence, and that is God. Spirit, the universe, the infinite, the divine, our higher power, whatever we choose to call it. And we come together in gratitude today for this organization, for the opportunity to be together, to be open at the top, as Ernest Holmes said. We give great thanks for Reverend Dr. Rick and his willingness to be with us today. So I wrap our time together in gratitude, love, and light, and together we say, and so it is. It is my honor and privilege to introduce the Vice President of the affiliated New Thought Network Board, our Speaker Series Coordinator, and my beloved friend, Reverend Dr. Carol Lawson, who is the founding minister of the Center for Conscious Living in Morristown, New Jersey. And as they say in New England, just a hot ticket. So Reverend Dr. Carol, good morning and welcome.
I guess I need to spend more time in New England. I haven't heard that. Welcome, everybody. I'm so glad that you're here. And I get to introduce this wonderful man that is our guest this month. Rick was on before on our March speaker series when the news and some of the regulations about COVID first hit. It was my guidance that this would be somebody that could help us deal with some of those initial, fears and anxieties and confusions. This has happened again, and it's the reason I've invited him back. I feel strongly, as I think probably most of you do, that every vibration that we send out is something that we're contributing to the collective. And anytime any of us does healing, clearing on ourselves, it helps everybody. And Dr. Rick Moss, if you do not know him, is a minister of religious science. He's got a PhD from U of Texas. And the thing that I think is most impressive, his bio reads, for over 30 years and through 25,000 client sessions. As a minister for about the same amount of time, I am nowhere near that many client sessions. So the extraordinary intuitive ability that Rick has been gifted with and has honed through those 25,000 client sessions is here and available for us. For those of you that are not familiar, please check out, and Jerry can put in the chat, his website is essentialpathways.com. They're wonderful oracle cards, lots of free clearings, all kinds of information, and a way to sign up to work individually with him, which I have, and it truly is extraordinary. He has spoken at our Center for Conscious Living a couple of times and done that same kind of clearing that we're preparing to offer to everybody today. He's just amazing at what he does in helping us clear things that we're not even aware of. He's extraordinary. He's a beautiful, glorious light. And thank you very much for being with us, Dr. Rick Moss. And if it says John Eric or something on his website, that's him too.
That's me too. Thank you, Carol. So much appreciated. So if you all would like to share in the chat anything that is specifically challenging up for you, that would be great. I'm going to start by doing some group work, and then we'll see if it feels right to work individually on challenges, with the idea that if it's in one of us, it's in all of us. And one way to get deep at it is to take a look at one expression of some limitation, open that limitation up to consciousness and love, and surprisingly or not, we all benefit. So we'll start with some group work dealing with what Reverend Carol asked me to deal with, which is the amount of stress and tension and fear that we're dealing with in this time of switching from an old paradigm to, I believe, the new paradigm, which will assert itself in our consciousness within these coming years. I believe that we're in a time of transition, and transition, of course, brings up a lot. It brings up all that needs to be healed, all that we need to face as an individual and a planet to move to a higher order organization. So that's where we're going to start. Feel free to add things to the chat, which I am going to take a peek at so I can.
And I'd be happy to read it to you as others write in, if you would, just things that are of concern to you right now. One from Deb about his intention healing for my husband's lung cancer, just been re-diagnosed, stage 4.
Got it. Stomach issues, got it.
Prayers for unspecified tremors.
Got it.
On my right side.
Got it. Okay, thank you, everybody.
Physical challenges, another physical challenge is burning in feet, healing a fractured ankle for husband. Interesting.
All right, so I'm going to start with my own little opening prayer, which is going to help me align and center so that I can really be a conduit for what wants to be said. All healing we do in the name of God's love. We give thanks for this opportunity to release the binding influence of the past. We call on God and invite the presence of all that is healing and nurturing for everyone present and through everyone present for the world. So be it. And now, just to put ourselves into a state of greater receptivity, we'll do this little visualization, please. Imagine that you're standing under a waterfall of light blue light, aquamarine. Invited to enter your head, let it heal, release, and relax tension, stress, fear, melting away. Let it flow through your neck and throat, relaxing, opening, freeing your chest, and especially your heart center. The spine, the sacrum, digestive area, the power center around the navel, the sexual area, the legs and feet. Now there's this stream of light blue light. It's healing energy. It's connective. It's releasing. It is an expression of God's love. Just let it flow through. And invite it to carry out anything that doesn't need to be there for your healing and growth that you've already mastered that doesn't serve anymore, but was just hanging around, waiting to be released. Just let it flush away. Very nice. Now imagine, please, that you're standing in a vat of liquid. The purpose of this is to visualize more clearly that which you're dealing with. It may be tension, fear, depression, stress, pain. Whatever you choose, imagine that it has a color. It is a way of just attentioning what you're dealing with more clearly. Now, the first step in the work is to bring attention to it, consciousness. God as attention heals. So I'm going to ask you to spend 2 minutes just attentioning, not trying to make it go away, not interacting with it, just witnessing it, sitting by its bedside. And in order to give a flavor to the attention, the God energy as attention that you are expressing, I'm going to ask you to put a little smile at the corner of your lips. As you smile, it changes the muscles in your face. And that changes your brain. And so now you're witnessing, you're observing this energy, this emotion that's in the vat as liquid. You're observing it with this little smile. And starting now, please, 2 minutes, observe, maintain that little smile. Let God, as attention, work through you. Not doing anything but witnessing. Allowing God as attention to be present. Attention heals. And compassionate attention, especially. 1 more minute, keep going. You're doing great. 30 seconds more. Great. That's the first 2 minutes. If you have noticed a change or no change, would you just tell me something in the chat? We're going to do another 2 minutes. Slight change, okay. More relaxed, got it. Release, got it. Great. All right, we're going to do another 2 minutes. Another 2 minutes of letting consciousness work and being the channel through which God moves as compassionate awareness. Starting now. Make sure you have that little smile. Find your smile. If you don't have it yet, it changes the energy. That's it. Half of us have that heart energy built up with the smile. You might want to see if you could make that smile a little bigger if you're not doing it yet, and see what happens to the furnace of your heart. That's it. That's it. There we go. Now I can feel the energy changing. And it feels to me that whatever you're dealing with, that liquid, either the level of it has changed, or the viscousness of it has changed, or the light around your head has increased. Keeping your eyes closed, welcome this thought. I invite God's presence as attention, as consciousness, to fill me now. And in filling me now, to remind me of who I truly am, who I am as God knows me to be. I welcome this experience of expansion. I welcome this experience of greater peace, of detachment from that liquid, that emotion. This strengthens the sense of I am. This strengthens the sense of who I am as God creates me. In that I have grown stronger, the emotion has gotten weaker, perhaps. This old emotion doesn't need to be retained. It has helped strengthen your sense of self. There is an imagined button on the inside of the vat, and if you push it, you are signaling the desire to release what you don't need anymore, because it has served to bring you to yourself. Push the button, let the liquid drain away. Let it drain into the earth, which gladly welcomes this energy, because the earth has this spectacular quality to turn poop into flowers, to take the energy that we are discharging and turn it into life force for the planet. Let it go. Staying with your awareness of this strengthened sense of self. Imagine that the emotion as liquid is draining out. Keep letting it go. Nice. Beautiful. Now imagine that the liquid has drained out. And when it does, the sides of the vat fall away and disappear. And you, in this heightened sense of self, more in touch with who you truly are, more illuminated, step off of the drain of the vat and into the most beautiful place in nature you can imagine. And this is the present moment. Whatever was that emotion from the past that was in the vat, in this moment, as you step on the grass of the present moment in this exquisite moment of time eternal. Imagine nature as the most glorious that you could experience. The body is in the present moment. God is in the present moment. God is not in the past or the future because that's our own creation. That's our egoic fantasy and dream world. The present moment is reality, is now. How do we get there? Well, the senses really help. So imagine the sun shining on you, the weather perfect, the air clean. You can smell the flowers, you can hear the trees. If you love snow-capped mountains, they're there. If you love ocean, it's there. Let your senses bring you to awe. Awe is a spectacular state to be in the presence of God, of the present moment, of now. Don't be afraid of the awe. Sometimes we pull back from it because we're afraid it will be taken away. Then we're in the future or in the past. Come back to your senses. Come back to the sun shining on your body. Now, this sun teaches us a great deal. This is unconditional sunlight. No demand, no expectation, just all give. It doesn't care what you've done in the past or the future. It doesn't care about bank account or bodies. It just gives everything to everyone who is willing to receive it. Yes, you could hide from it, but you don't have to. You just let it shine on you. And you take it in if you choose. And it is just like God's unconditional love, this unconditional sunlight. As you look around, you see in front of you a stream. You walk in the direction of that stream, noticing the exquisiteness of the beauty around you. Wearing whatever is appropriate, you slip into the stream. And surprisingly, it's really warm. This is healing water. It comes from a hot springs upstream. A number of us have physical sensations or emotional upsets that could be soothed and healed by this water. So just emerge Submerge yourself in that water, allowing the current to draw out of you anything that needs to be released so that you can be your best self. I let this water relax me and remind me of what I feel like when I am at peace, when I feel empowered, when I feel loved. And now I shine this love throughout my whole body. And any place in my body that wishes to absorb this great love, I offer it up willingly. And just imagine this love being absorbed in your whole body, and especially in any place in your body that is expressing a lack of love by contraction or pain. We'll give ourselves another 30 seconds to encourage the now moment and the love that exists right here for us and through us to support the body in any way that it needs to be supported. Hear my body. Please take this love. Please take this attention. Completing that, we get out of the stream. And to complete this visualization, please imagine yourself walking in this beautiful field with all these beautiful flowers and the trees and the sun. And feel your body walk and align itself with Mother Earth. We have all of these lower chakras that go from under the perineum, under the bottom, all the way to the center of the earth. These lower chakra systems connect us to the divine feminine, to God as feminine, to Mother Earth. As you're walking, if there was any misalignment, invite that misalignment to realign now. I realign myself and I allow myself to be realigned with the earth, with the divine feminine, both within and as exemplified by the earth. And now send your energy up, aligning the upper chakras that go from above your head to the top of the sky, symbolic of our connection to the Father, aligning that symbolically, as well as the alignment symbolically with the Mother. And as both of those alignments complete, feel yourself in this perfect alignment with all that is. Having come into alignment now, anything that was not part of this alignment does not need to remain. I celebrate my perfect alignment with all that is. And so we ask that this healing be integrated through all time, space, dimensions, and interdimensions, throughout the hologram of life and existence. And so it is. Take whatever time you need, then open your eyes. If there were some experiences or outcomes that you would like to share, I'd love to hear anything that you would like me to know, and that'll help us figure out where to go next.
So would that be in the chat as well?
In the chat, I think that'd be the best if you don't mind.
Mhm.
Thank you. I'm glad you're feeling lighter. Let's see. Lighter, more calm, very glad. Happy, hopeful. Amazing release of anxiety. So stiff neck improved. Beautiful. Lovely. Wonderful. That's a great start. Yes, that the metaphor of love and sunlight, it's got to be more than a metaphor. It's just too perfect. Okay. There were a lot of people that talked about physical challenges. So I think that's where we need to go now, and that's what I'm getting. So you're about to have a discussion with your challenge. Closing your eyes and tell me what time do we have? How much time do we have for all this?
We kind of arbitrarily quit at 1. We certainly could go over a few minutes and people can leave if they need to, but
Sure.
your process could
Okay.
go a little longer if it helps heal the collective or these individual things. That's
Right. Okay. We'll do one more group and then we'll see what our time is like to see if we could help some individuals. So we're just going to take some breaths and relax and let go. As soon as we start to do that as a group, I feel this beautiful settling down. And it really feels like we're settling down out of our head, more into our heart, into being. Let's encourage that. Getting out of our collective heads, more into our collective heart. You've seen the little egg timers, little sand dial, 3-minute sand, where the sand is in the upper part and it drops down into the lower part. So whatever attention is in our head, in our thinking, in our critical processes, for this next experience, it'll work even better if we become heart-centered rather than head-centered. So please let the sand in your head just drain down and fill up your heart. Let the consciousness drain out of your head and fill up your heart. Excellent. A little more. Yeah. Now you'll know when your egg is cooked, when your 3 minutes are up, because the sand will have filled your heart. And when that happens, you can feel like you could just take your head off and put it to the side, and it really wouldn't be a problem because you're not identified with the energy in your head then. So now the energy has come into the heart. That's where the healing is going to come from. This is a healing based on love. We had a healing based on attention. Both attention and love are God qualities. For healing to be profound, it needs to connect us with our divine self and reveal to ourselves more of the nature of this self of attention, of consciousness, of love. The symptom is really there to increase the awareness of self. So, find, I'm hearing you have a choice. It could be an emotion that's calling out, could be fear or shame or grief, overwhelm. Or find some part of your body that wants your attention. Okay? Now, if you have an emotion, say to yourself the word that is that emotion and see what part of your body reacts the strongest. So if you say fear, you may notice your heart clutch or your throat get very tight. Wherever you're drawn or wherever the pain is, imagine that it is a room. It might be the room of your heart, the room of your foot or feet, the room of your forehead, the room behind your eyes. Now, using your felt sense, your creativity, what is in that room? If it's the room of your heart and it was fear, what does fear look like in your heart? Does it have a shape? Is it a monster? Is it something from the past? If it's pain in the foot, give it a visualization. What does the pain look like? You can't be wrong. You're just increasing your ability to interact with it from the perspective of love. Now, you have this room with whatever you have seen in it, felt in it, but you're not in the room. You're outside of the room, looking in through a window or a door. Now, here's the trick. Not all of us can just get to unconditional love when we want to, not just right off the bat. But here's one way that may work for you, because it's love that's going to do the work, not our egos. think of someone or something that you love, that you care about, that you feel warmly towards, that you want to protect. It could be a person. It could be a sleeping child or grandchild. It could be a dog or a cat. It could be a tree. Love is love. Find that feeling of sweetness or kindness. If the word love is threatening, and it would be threatening to a part of your unconscious if you had a challenging childhood, maybe that's what we'll work on next. Because whatever you experienced in those first 7 years, your unconscious thinks is love. So you may have to call it warmth or kindness or sweetness. But here's how you know if it's the energy that you're looking for. When you feel that kindness, when you feel that sweetness, could you intentionally harm anything? And if the answer is no, then you are now the channel through which love will move, even if you call it kindness, even if you call it caring, it's still the God energy. And it's the energy that will do the work. So look into that room, whatever part of your body it is. Look into the room. Use your felt sense to see what's going on, what shape it is, what's happening. And whatever it's doing, whatever is happening, say to it, you have the right to feel whatever you feel and still be loved. You have the right to be pain and still be loved. You have the right to be contraction, anger, fear, and still be loved. Because if this is unconditional sunlight, unconditional God energy, unconditional love, there are no demands and no expectations. It's allowed to be just as it is. Otherwise, it wouldn't be love. It'd be a manipulation. So now, just shine that feeling on what's ever in the room. It'll just start going to work. Because love turns everything to love eventually. Good, good. I can feel things happening. All right, let's give it another 30 seconds. Just shine that love in. Awesome. That's great. Now imagine that that part of you, that is that loving part, that loving adult part of you, that representation of God in the world, that is saying, you can feel whatever you feel. You can be whoever you are. And I'm still going to love you. I'm not forcing you to change in order to be loved. Ah, what a relief. What openness, what transformation occurs in that. And so you enter the room, whatever part of your body that was, with that love. That's the loving adult that you truly are when God is shining through you. Whether you call it love or kindness, doesn't matter. Good. You have energy arms. The arms are the extension and the expansion of love. Use your energy arms to surround but not touch whatever's in the room. Now you're radiating it 360 degrees with love. That amps it up. That increases the healing. Just feel your heart moving towards whatever's there. It loves whatever is there. That unconditional love with no demand or expectation is really a God experience. As you recognize it as that, it grows stronger. It just fills you up. And your limited self-identity tends to melt away. Trust that. Trust that who you are is really love. Trust that you can, for the moment, let go of your limited self-identity and be just fine. That's great. Now, you've surrounded whatever was in the room. Start bringing it closer to your heart chakra, because it's probably getting smaller and it's probably being drawn almost magnetically to the center of love as your heart. Great. It's getting closer. The love is there. The healing is there. The peace is there. God is there. You may find you can bring it all the way in and hold it against your heart chakra. If so, then I invite you to literally hug yourself as a symbol of bringing it right to your heart. Saying to it, I've got you. Love has got you. You are safe. You are loved. You belong here. It's just fine. That's wonderful. And so we ask that this healing be integrated through all time, space, dimensions, and interdimensions, throughout the hologram of life and existence, through every part and particle of our being, and through our being, we share this with the world. And so it is. Well, that felt great to me. I wondered how you guys were doing, but it felt really good on this end. If you have a couple of words in the chat so I can get a feeling of how the group's doing, that would be wonderful. Cool. Maybe a couple more just so I can get it. Nice. Nice. Good. Awesome. All right. In our 10 minutes, it feels to me that we can work with unconditional love. Unconditional love is such a challenge to the ego because it can't earn it. It has no control over it. It makes it feel terrified. However we experience childhood, that has a profound effect on our experience of love. the first 7 years of our life, the child's mind is narcissistic. Everything is about her, everything is about him. It's also called magical thinking. Even if we had all the rest of our life in a very positive experience, those 7 years, if we haven't dealt with them, have left a distortion in our relationship with love. That distortion doesn't need to be there. The moments of those 7 years are what I call an inner child. When we finish an inner child process, what I think you will notice is that the emotion that memory bubble of the inner child held and the limiting beliefs that it held about itself disappear. That child just becomes part of your awakened consciousness. And what it leaves behind is just the ability to remember pictorial representations of childhood, but they don't have the energy that was stored in the hurts. The memory and the pain has been cleared out. As we clear out these inner child moments, we create bigger and bigger pathways for unconditional love to move into our life, and we change our capacity for relationships. Unconsciously, if we haven't done that first 7-year work, our relationships are very much influenced by those first 7 years, and we tend to repeat whatever we experience, thinking that whatever we experienced was actually love. And because it lives in the unconscious, you have no idea that it's there. How do you know it's there? By what happens in your relationships. So, using a little of our time, and if this feels powerful for you, you actually can go onto my website and do this work for free. Do the 2 love pathways, do the inner oracle cards. They're all there, and you can keep going. So, using the time that we have, I'd like you to imagine an inner child moment of sadness or separation, and feel free to make it up. Most of us don't remember. But I promise you there's been moments of sadness and feeling of isolation or separation, and probably a lot worse. Find one of those moments, and we're going to say arbitrarily about 4 years of age, so you probably won't remember much. But imagine yourself as a child feeling sad or isolated. And imagine that she's or he is sitting on his or her bed. Using the same tool of finding unconditional love, either looking at the child and feeling that unconditional love or kindness, or thinking of someone that you feel that way towards, or some animal. Find that feeling, open the door to love, and now direct that same feeling to this child that you were at age 4, feeling separate and alone. Now you have this stream of healing love moving through you. God moving through you as love, doing the work. And you imagine going to that little boy or girl and saying to him or her, I have come to love you. I have come to bring you what you didn't get. And I have come to do that 24/7 because your parents couldn't do that, and you needed to be loved and safe all the time in order to blossom into who you truly are. Shining that care on that child See if you can get permission to sit next to him or her. See if you can get permission to put your arm around him or her. As you get familiar with this, what we call the felt sense, you'll realize that you can know a great deal of information about your child with your felt sense, and it will be surprisingly accurate. Imagine spending a day with that child, giving that child this care, this kindness, and probably the protection that that child needed. So many of us were very challenged in childhood and need loving protection. Surround that child with loving protection. And if it was very challenging, multiply that loving adult that you are by 100 and form a protective circle around the child of love. So if anyone were to come into that circle with an intent to hurt that child, the love would be 100 to 1 against them. They would walk into the circle, they would feel overwhelming love, they would feel exceedingly uncomfortable, and they would turn around, walk right out, and that child would not be hurt or harmed. Feel into the relief of that child as days and days of safety go by. Months of safety, no abuse, no harm, no violence, no shouting, just love. And what that does is it creates a completely new environment for that child to grow up in. It's like repotting a plant in healthy soil. That plant is going to grow up totally different than if it was just in sand. Your child is going to grow up in this exercise totally differently than you did. Imagine that you are there for weeks and months and years, offering love, non-judgment, protection to this child. Imagine how the child would change. Imagine this child growing up as her or himself, not as you. What would this child be like at 14 or 15? What would their relationships be like at 16, 18, 20? Not yours. What would this child of love be like? Keep growing up this person, 25, 30, 40 years of age. Now, ask yourself, what qualities exist in this person grown up with love and safety and honoring and respect? What qualities do they exhibit? And you would probably tell me confidence, peace, happiness, strength, love. All of those qualities are the qualities of your best self. All of those qualities, in whatever flavor and arrangement they are part of the unique expression of God as you. They're you without your stuff. That's your best self. All of that lives within you. And it's just waiting to be liberated from the hurt and the contraction and the pain and the judgment of the past. And what liberates it? Love, awareness, consciousness, God. And so we ask that this healing be integrated through all time, space, dimensions, and interdimensions, throughout the hologram of life and existence. And so it is.